Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Did you know you can apply to over 50 historically black colleges and universities at the same time for only $20? You can with the Common Black College application. Hello, my name is Robert Mason. I'm the founder of the CBCA. Students around the world have completed the application and received multiple acceptance letters, financial aid packages, and scholarship offers. So visit our website at commonblackcollegeapp.com to apply now. And don't forget to pick up the book, Get Educated, the man behind the Common Black College application. Thank you, and get educated.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. You walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm feeling great today. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments, the Thursday edition. I'm Dr. Lauren, so excited to be here. What a blessing it is for all of us that are here. Grab your blessing. Go, grab it. Hold it tight. How do I know there's a blessing in store? Because all of us have just opened up a portal. It is a universal guarantee that when two or more of us comes together, we have that mindset, that heart set. We are in agreement that we are going to do whatever it takes today to do just a little bit of easing of suffering somewhere in the world. So can I get an amen? I'll kick it off. There it is. There it is. Listen, so happy to be here with you today. Dr. Lauren, before we get our guest in here, I was showing someone this morning. You guys know when I was having a moment, I think I was somewhere in California, and I was in the airport, and my flight got delayed like 5 times. And I just was walking around, pulling my luggage, just bitching on the phone to my husband, and just aimlessly wandering, or so I thought. Went inside. Next thing you know, I'm inside of one of the newsstand places, right? And there on the counter were the 4 agreement cards. I didn't even know they existed. And instantly, when I laid eyes on them, all of that stuff that wasn't serving me just dissipated, evaporated, because I felt like it's like when your parents caught you doing something you weren't supposed to do, and you felt like ashamed, and you dropped. Yeah, that's what happened. And so, because I'm talking on the phone, but I forget that people can hear, I'm spritzing my toxicity all over. And the 4 agreements, powerful, powerful. If you don't have it, I highly recommend you get the book in paperback, Audible. I have them both. But today I'm going to take the card that's right on top. I shuffle them before I put them away every time. So today it's from the first agreement, which is be impeccable with your word. Do you know the 4 agreements? Here they are. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. And always, always, always do your best. Okay? So today's card is from the be impeccable with your word category. Create a beautiful dream. Okay? And our guest today knows something about that, don't you, Andrea? Yes. And so today's card reads, because on the back there's a little message. Today's card reads, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. Impeccability of the word only creates beauty, love, and heaven on earth. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Can I get an amen? Okay. And good morning, beautiful people. I see some of you coming in. Put in the chat where you're watching from. We want to know if there's anything we can pray about or send some healing energy to for you or anyone in your sacred circle. Please drop that in as well. First names only. And we will get her done. Okay. So listen, speaking of healing, today's guest, I've known her for a number of years, seen her doing a number of things, and she's got this thing that she's doing now. There's a masterclass coming up, and she's helping. I didn't, to be honest with you, and I asked my husband about this because he's a psychologist, a therapist, and a psychotherapist, and I asked him about this thing known as, do you guys know about this? Mother wounds. I didn't know it was a thing. I really did not. But I have a clip that I want to share with you as we bring our guest in to kind of set the stage, literally, on what this is. Because, wait a minute, because I don't know how I knew nothing about this. So here, let me get it pulled up. And I'm going to start this, and then I'm going to bring our guest, Andrea.
Series on the mother wound, and we're going to talk today about what kinds of behaviors create the mother wound, because there are quite a range of things that can happen, and you might have almost all of these, you might have a few. There is no specific number that says, oh, you get the wound and you don't, because we're talking about the intersection between who we are, who our parents are, our own genetics, our own temperament, disposition, and that interplay that is so difficult to understand. But I found that, and the research shows, I think, in most of the books that talk about these kind of wounds, especially when we talk about moms who've struggled with disorders like narcissism or borderline, but are often also called immature, we know that certain behavioral patterns and emotional patterns tend to create wounds. So let's get into what those look like. We're really talking about, number one, a constant and chronic demeaning, minimization, and invalidation of who you are. In fact, highly invalidating environments are the core. As I was talking in yesterday's video about this nest that creates the mother wound, I would say that a highly invalidating environment by any parent, frankly, can create a wound, or partner, but we're talking about in general. So feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling safe, like you matter, that's going to be the core of it. So we can see a lot of criticism, demeaning, minimizing, and that kind of regard. Like, oh, who do you
Okay,
think you are? You don't feel that
hold on.
way. Don't get too big for your.
Okay, I'm gonna hold that now. Andrea?
Yes.
Oh, I was like, is she here? Andrea, say hello to everybody. Introduce yourself. I'm gonna dip out for a second, give you 30 seconds to 60 seconds to kind of set the stage for what we're gonna talk about here. Because until you brought it to me, I really didn't even know it was a thing. And we're gonna go back and forth between Dr. Sage in there. I think that was her name. And then talk about it. So take it away. Say hello to everybody. Tell them how to pronounce your full name, and then I'll be right back.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is ANDREA PARENTE-MILOTI. How are you guys today? And yep, I am what I do is I help moms or just women over 40 who are experiencing trauma. And one particular trauma that we are going to talk about is the mother wounds.
Okay. So, okay. Let's just go. Let's just go to you guys. By the way, if you've never been here before, where the hell have you been? Okay, I'm kidding. If you haven't been here before, that's the bell of purpose. It's a real thing. It's not just a prop. It's not a gimmick. It's an opportunity. It's a reminder that we know we're all busy. But when I ring the bell, it's because there's something really important, a real truth, walking across the intersection. And I don't want you to miss the ooey gooey chewy center of that truth. So that's what that means. Tune in when you hear it. Okay. So Andrea, when did you first learn of this mother wound? Because they're always coming up with new shit. I'm just saying, all the time. It's like, well, what is that? But that, because think about it. There's things now that our grandparents are like, well, we did without it. We didn't have any of that. We turned out just fine. So when did this topic or this title, this category, if you will, of trauma, because it is a trauma category, mother wound, when did it hit the scene officially?
I just heard about it like maybe 6 months ago, and it came about with me in my own journey with my therapy and EMDR and all the things that I've doing journaling and just in my research and when I started popping up and I was like, what is this? What is this thing?
So give us the Reader's Digest definition of a mother wound. What is it? Because she's going to break down. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it basically, it's a mother wound because it's like the maternal connection you have, because it doesn't have to necessarily be like a mother, a birth mother. It could be a caregiver. If you had a grandmother, that was your maternal connection,
so whoever
it was.
Whoever is taking the role of the mothering.
Exactly.
The mothering is the coddling, the calming down, the reaffirming, you're beautiful, like in the Help. She was the maid, but she always held that little girl, you are beautiful, you smart, and you are important. So she was the mother. Okay, she was healing the birth mother wound. Okay, right? So, okay, I'm starting to see it. So in your own journey, because you said it came up there, do you suffer from, or did you suffer from, or have you suffered from a mother wound?
Yes. And I didn't realize it until not too long ago, but that's where a lot of my trauma comes from.
Can you describe yours?
Mine would be not getting that validation, not getting what is most important. A mother-child connection is the most important thing. I mean, they literally came out with DNA, that the DNA of a child stays in the mother for like years to come, like the connection and the bond. And there's a certain
I believe
that you need from your mother, and that's the validation, the need to feel important. I didn't get that. It started with me. My earliest flashback was when I was probably about 7 years old. I felt I had the abandonment issue. My mother, I was just simply playing. She took me. She got some news. It was, later I found out, it was news of a close aunt that passed. She just picked me up, brought me next door, didn't say nothing, just brought me next door, I turned, I started going to play with the neighbor's child. I turned around, my mother was gone. They said, your mother. I did not see her. My father got me late at night after he was working. I didn't even see her, whether or not she came home. I didn't see her
Okay.
until like the next day. She never tried to explain and just
So
like
wait a minute. How did that one day? Okay, so I gotta ask. I have to ask because you said, "Is this the thing that came up? Is this the flashback that came up during therapy?"
this is one of them a while
One
ago.
of them. So I can tell you what somebody's thinking. I'm one of them. Is well, wait a minute, girl. Aren't you a little hypersensitive? Okay, your mama took you right next door. It's not like you can't look out the window and say, "There's my house." It's not like they moved, backed up a U-Haul, packed up everything, and left your ass next door. You were just sleeping over, and she didn't explain it because you were a child. You saw your dad. So how did this one act? What made it stick or cut like a wound? I don't get that part. What did they
Because
tell you?
prior to that, I mean, I've had where my needs, like anybody else's, she would leave from whatever my need was and go to like make everybody else's needs would be more important than my own.
So how do we know, Andrea, that it's not our hypersensitivity to, especially if there are other siblings or people or pets or anything in the
Right.
mix, that the attention is being divided among? How do we know that it's a mother wound and us not just being sensitive?
Well, it could be, yeah, it basically a lot of it is having to do with an inner child wound. And that's usually where, like, whether it's a mother wound or some kind of a trauma that you see, which I've also had too.
So let me
I've
ask
had
you this.
other,
Okay, so I'm thinking this. The day that you just described to us, is it really based in what it represented to you, how it left you feeling?
that,
You see
yeah,
what I'm saying? Because what I'm thinking is a lot of, because you hear mother wound and nobody wants to talk shit about their mom. No one wants to say, yeah, you were a bad mom because you left me next door overnight. But nonetheless, if it left you feeling a certain way, if it's real to you, that makes it real.
well, that's what I'm saying. It's as a child, like, it doesn't mean that the mother does this on purpose. It doesn't mean that they don't love you. What it just means is, as a young child, when you feel, you interpret this, like, it doesn't mean that she abandoned me, but it's as a young child,
You felt abandoned.
I felt it. I felt like I just wasn't, I was unworthy. Like I wasn't
Okay.
important. I was just shove her aside and don't, you know, and it was like later in life when I became a mom, I was kind of like the exact opposite. And I think it's because
What
I
does that
didn't
mean? Were
get,
you smothering?
well,
You said opposite.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, you just like they say, the one thing, do not, as your kids get older, don't be your child's friend. They're gonna have friends, be their parent. I was
I
that.
think they should be both, personally.
Yeah, I agree with that
I'm
too.
just saying, because
I mean, I agree, but there's a time and a place as they get older. I think more now I'm finally connecting with my kids in a better way, especially my daughter, because we went through it hard where we're more friends now. But the thing was, if I was more of a parent and stronger than being their friend, I think that they wouldn't have struggled as much. But the reason why I did that is because I didn't have a role model. Like I didn't want to be like my mother. Like I could never have my feelings. If I cried, if I was upset, she would just tell me, "Oh, just get over it." Like, what are you crying for? Like, like never letting me have my big feelings. Like,
okay.
and you have to let your child feel.
Yeah.
You have to
Okay.
have a place to let. Like, I wasn't allowed to share my feelings.
Okay. So that too is a form of what Dr. Sage said about validation. Let's take a look real quick and hear what she brings up next.
Riches, those are like old comments, but that's kind of how it is. Like, who do you think you are? Don't shine too bright. By the way, if they're narcissistic, shine enough so I can feel good about who you are and who I am. But don't take the light away from me, for example. We can often see parents who scapegoat kids, who blame them. This is your fault. It's your fault for our bad relationship. Things like that. Behaviors and punishments that are very specific to saying, there's something wrong with you. You're bad. You're unlovable. Having a parent who only takes credit, like I said, when things are good. And so they take no ownership over the things that you struggle with as a child. They see you or hold you accountable as an adult, like you're just a mini adult and you should know better. And so they shame and blame you for things you do that are very normally child appropriate. And this would be a pattern. They treat you like they never really honor your developing self. And so you're always 5 in their eyes, even when you're 30, right? There's no honoring of your evolution as a human being. And it's always like they're up here and you're down here. They're emotionally chronically unstable. And so you get great love, you get what I call good love, you get bad love, when you never know what to expect and you walk on eggshells. And so you're living in a chronic state of hypervigilance or fight or flight because you're always scanning for the parent to be upset with you or someone else, or to misinterpret things, to be angry, to be emotional, whatever.
Okay. Wow. This is a lot.
A lot.
Here. Ooh. So, okay, let's go to, because I can see it could be a million different lanes. And here's what I want to know. This seems like a tightrope. You know what I mean? Where people could use it as an excuse to blame. I mean, it seems like it's either going to be obvious, glaringly obvious, or not. But do you find some people blame the mother for stuff that really doesn't belong to them because something like this makes it easy to do that? Yeah, she liked my sister better than me, when really that was your issue, not hers. I mean, it's a fine line. How do you keep
it's hard. It's hard too, because a lot of people,
I don't want to talk shit about my mom.
You can't even talk to too many people because people go, oh, well, that's your mom. Why are you talking like this about your mom? You're a
horrible person.
They don't see, they don't understand what happened that makes you feel this way. They don't understand how they say, oh, well, your mom is so sweet, because on the outside to everybody else, she is this.
Okay, person. Let me ask you this, because I know you're new to this. But let's talk back to your journey. Wherever you were you were in therapy, right? And they brought this to your attention. At what point, if at all, did they say, well, we need to get your mom if she's still alive? Is your mom still alive?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you on speaking terms?
No.
Oh.
I avoid her because I can't. I tried.
You avoid her, but that means
because I tried to talk. It always ends up in a just nasty. Like every time I say whatever, okay. She doesn't want to even hear. I try to talk to her. We have a situation right now because where I'm living, me and my son, my daughter had to move out of her apartment because she just went through a very bad domestic violence situation. 3 years ago now, but it was a 2-year relationship. She had to get out of her apartment, get away. I don't have a big enough place. So my daughter is staying there, but she's trying to get her something. She calls my daughter every name, like the way, and I can't even listen to that. I get so aggravated, but I try to stay calm for my daughter.
Well,
but
wait.
It's triggering to me.
But wait a minute. Now it sounds, I just got to say it, Andrea. It sounds like you're looking for it. You said a minute ago you avoid her, but then
I do avoid her, but I don't avoid my daughter. And when I talk to my daughter, I get this, and then I just need to I let it go over because I can't. I said, Ashley.
But your daughter must not have the same relationship or the same dynamics within it if she has constant daily, connection with your mom. So they must not have that, because a lot of times grandparents have a better relationship with grandkids because they're getting it right now.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
so your daughter, let's ask this question. Does your daughter have a better relationship with your mother than you do?
Not really, because my she can't take the way she gets. She's like, Mom, all she does is put me down. It's like, oh well, you're just like your mother. You go into these relationships, and like that's your fault of your, like, telling her it's her fault because her acts like literally could have killed her. That's how bad it was.
So how
Like, you
do
asked for, she tells my daughter, well, obviously you asked for it. You don't do, like your mother asked
okay.
for everything.
Well, a lot of this stuff too is based in how they were raised,
Well, yeah,
the
exactly.
things
Yeah.
that they were taught. And
Yep.
that's how it is. Well, in our day, it was okay for us or whatever the situation may be. So my point is it possible, like if your mom is around and you do have at least some semblance of a relationship through some type of connection, writing letters, leaving text messages, whatever the case may be, isn't it important that the mother is involved in the healing process? Because I have a hard time talking about a person that's alive to another
Right.
person, especially when it involves conflict between the two of us, without that other person there. Because it feels like I'm talking shit behind their back, and I don't feel it's fair to talk about somebody without them being able to share their side of
Yep. I mean, I agree with that, but that depends upon the situation and if that other person, the mother, wants to be part of it.
right.
Like you can that's why in order to heal yourself from it, you have to do certain things. I mean, it's your inner child, and that's what's wounded is your inner child, because when it's happened through, you have to take the healing steps for you.
Okay. So what about this one? Here's a question. So how do you hold on to your healing from yesterday when you get a shitty call or something with your mother today? So what I'm saying is, how do you heal in one lane, but you still got the person? How does that work?
That's what I got to the point now where I had to block her messages. Like I have to
So
literally, as a boundary, I had to set boundaries around.
do you feel a difference in your spirit today, Andrea, even though you've set boundaries clearly, which is always a great thing, set
Yeah,
boundaries.
that's one of the
So
things.
so do you feel, tell us a couple examples if you could, or even one example of how you're healing this mother wound, even though it's not changing the dynamic of the relationship?
Because I feel like, you know what? I didn't do anything wrong.
Mm.
Like
So
I was
you're
holding
getting
on for
released.
so long. It was hindering everything in me, thinking that, well, it must be my fault. Like I must be a bad person. I must be not a loving daughter. But it wasn't. I didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Are
And
these narcissistic mothers? A lot
huh?
of the tendencies sound similar to a narcissistic person.
Yeah, I believe that there is a lot of narcissistic traits in there because, yeah, yeah, there definitely is. There definitely is.
So have you talk about this if you could? So because I assume you're in a group. We're going to talk about that. You have a group where there are people. How many people in the group?
I just started, so I got about 15 people right now.
Okay, and these are all women.
Yeah.
And so, what do you hear? What is the main gripe, or is it similar to what you said, or what are some of the examples
I
of these
think
wounds?
it's similar. Yeah, it's a lot of similar people with, a lot of people getting flashbacks little by little as they're going through it. They'll sometimes get like a flashback of things that they block, because a lot of times when you going through that, I blocked out a lot of stuff in my childhood because I was trying to keep to myself because I didn't want to feel the pain. So what happened was I kind of disassociated in my childhood that I'm just realizing as an adult, which made me block out a lot of things, a lot of memories in my childhood, which is starting to come back to me, but that's through the healing process, through
Okay.
journaling.
Well, in your
Journaling is
healing
a
process,
very, very big one.
in your healing process, is part of the work learning how to help the other person without giving up the ground you need to be your best, to be healthy? Or do they suggest sometimes maybe you just need, who can cut off the relationship with their aging parent? Who can do that? Because, you know, you have siblings and, you know, we have to start taking care of them and this, that, and the other. Let's talk about this. Do you feel that the healing of your own mother wound will help you when it comes time to do the right thing by your mom as she gets older?
Yes. I mean, I see it now because even if, like, okay, for instance, I was with her not too long ago, a few weeks ago,
Okay.
with my daughter because we went to a funeral service of, you know, like in the family of a woman. She was like 100 years old, and we went, and she was like, "You want to go?" I was just going with my daughter. I drove down to my mom's, but then she goes, "You want to come with me or whatever?" Like but it was like it was very cold. Like I would try to talk, like she just like I don't know. She kind of like I wasn't there. But you know, so normally I would get very upset and I go, but you know something, I didn't remember. Like if she did say something, I just answered very nicely. When I left there, it was that one time that I felt like, you know what? I don't know about her, but I know I'm healing. Because I didn't let any of her reaction, anything bother me. And I just felt like, you know what?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. My birth mother told me this, and she put it bluntly. I'm giving it to you verbatim. And she told me this the very first day that I met her, after being separated from her for 32 years. And she was explaining to me that, you know, you're probably going to have some issues with some of your siblings. All these years, they were, you know, they thought you were dead. I didn't know how to explain what had really happened to you because I didn't know what really had happened to you. And she goes, but don't take any of it personally. The 4 agreements, she said, don't, and she didn't even know the 4 agreements as far as I know, but she said it, don't take anything personally. In other words, son, if something doesn't make sense to you, it's because it doesn't have shit to do with you. That's exactly how she put it. And instantly I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. And that's my premise today. If something doesn't make sense to me, why does this person always treat me like this? Or why does that person always say things in that tone? If it doesn't make sense to me, I leave it alone because it's not my problem. It's theirs, right? But let's talk about this. For those of us who don't, you know, we're not going to go to therapy. A lot of people won't do that because here's another thing. Inner family issues. A lot of us were raised, what goes on in this house stays in this house. And dysfunction is such a loose term nowadays. Everyone says it's, you know, we all have dysfunction, which is probably true. But what about this? When you're in the group with these other women, why are they there? Are they there to just have a big bitch session? Let's just complain about our moms? Or are they looking for a way to have the connection they've always sought or felt they deserved with their mother? Or do they just want to know how to deal with her until she's gone?
Well, I think community is important. I think they want, you know, they definitely want to know that they're not alone.
So
I
that
think
it makes sense
that's
hearing
the
other
whole
people.
big thing, that to know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And there's something I say that, you know, when people like you're healing, it's like you're not healing from like to handle that trauma or that anxiety or that depression. You're not healing because you're already good at that. You know that. What you're healing to do is to be able to find that joy and happiness so you can have that in your life again.
I agree. That
That's what I always, because everybody, it's like, I'm here, but you're not, because it's like you got the trauma, you got the anxiety, you're used to that.
Let's take a listen again and hear what Dr. Sage is saying at this point, and it'll give us something to go on. Here we go. Dr. Sage, take it away.
Parents who tend to use you as best friends, as therapists, who have really poor boundaries, they overshare about their own, intimate life, their partner, or they invade your privacy. There's no respect, once again, for your autonomy, especially as you're growing and developing. They often will be very charming in front of others, these kind of parents. And so you feel very confused about who they present as versus who they really are. And so in public, they're a very different version. And so that disintegration is very confusing inside. It's like, well, who are they? So there's no stable internalization for you of who the mother is or the parent. They try to always shine brighter than you. They have to upstage you. They have to get more attention than you do. It's always about them in some way. They might be inappropriate with your friends, trying to get attention, might flirt with your partners, even when you're, like a young person. They might try to live their lives through you. So they make you feel completely responsible for their happiness, their well-being, like you are their world, which is why I get so triggered when people say, my child is my best friend and the kid's like 5 or it's a baby. It's one thing when you get, as you get older and become closer to adults to have a very close friendship relationship. But it is the idea that you've just given birth to your best friend. Like that is not the role of a child.
Ooh, okay. So let me get this off the screen for the okay. So right there, as soon as I heard that litany rolled out, I thought of some mothers of friends of mine who always when I was growing up, would take over the conversation, would come and jump right in the middle of us.
My mother.
And people, I do remember moms who talked to their child no matter what we were celebrating. Well, we'll see how long that lasts. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you tell them about the time you this? That kind of a thing. Always undermining their joy. Always undermining their joy. So I get it. I definitely get it.
It's control. And that's a narcissistic quality. It's control. Is they had the need. See, my mother, and I see it now still. And I've always seen it. I didn't realize it too. I even seen it with my father. She has a need she has to be in control over everything. But to the point of this was a while ago, but I was an adult mom with little kids. I probably was in my 40s at the time. And I went into, actually we were in church. We were going to a funeral of my neighbor, of somebody I grew up with that passed away. And I was talking to one of the cousins that I haven't seen in a while. And we were close, so we were talking. Here I am, a grown woman, a mom. She comes up, oh, where's your car? It's time for you to leave. I'm having a conversation. These are little things, and I could never understand. And it's almost to the point of, she got to the point of why? You embarrass me, first of all. You come and the way you interrupt, she would do that even when I was married.
Okay, how long ago was that?
Well, I was probably I'd say maybe, I was in 40 or 50. So I would say, no, you know what? My father was going. So let's say 10 years ago. Let's say 10 years ago.
Okay, so 10 years ago. So let's go to this piece of the puzzle, if we could. So here we are, and just listening to you recant it, it's still a little fresh. It still has a way of going at you. So let's move into the lane of forgiveness. How important is it that we forgive, not the person even, but the behavior? Because they can't, obviously at some point we need to understand, some cases you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is
Exactly.
generational. It's what they know. It's how it is. Now I need to understand that it's most likely never going to change, forgive the behavior, and find a way to love through it. So let's
That's
talk about that. Have you had to learn to forgive your mother? Is it a case by case basis? Did you do a big blanket agreement with yourself
I
that
actually sent her, I wrote a letter actually mailed, which she never even acknowledged. I sent her a text before a whole thing where she'd come back, oh, what is this? Oh, you're just sick. That's what she sends me back. And I sent her a beautiful thing. I said, you know, we never saw eye to eye, but
what were
it's
your
not enough.
expectations?
Like I
Honestly,
wrote her.
Andrea, what were your expectations with that letter?
And
Now
you know something,
hold on. You know your mom. I know her just from this brief time together. And I would think, I'll send it, but I already know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna do my best. But just so I don't set myself up, knowing how she's been, I'm really not expecting her to acknowledge it, to say I'm sorry, or anything,
That's
but at
exactly
least I have gotten it out.
That's exactly true.
But when you said it just now clearly, because that's the thing that I'm talking about. Even though we say we're healed and this and the other, it still hurts a little when we recant it.
I think it will always hurt. I mean, it's never gonna go like, but it's like you get to the point where you know what? That's her.
Well, how do
That's
we
how
get
she
to the
is.
point where we can take the situation and
Like I
find
know it's not me anymore. Whereas a while ago I would take it like, oh, like, and then I'm like, okay, I kind of do like when I saw it. What else? I mean,
So let
that's
me
what's
ask you this.
coming,
Let me ask
but
you this. So when you're sitting around talking with close family members and your mom's name comes up, are you able to speak through a voice of understanding? Yes, you guys. Or do you just jump in and agree with everybody? Yeah, she's yeah, da, da, da. You know what I'm saying? How do we get to the point where, how do you help other people?
Because when I know that I'm healed now, because literally I could go out where I couldn't even hear if anybody asked me, "Oh, how's mom doing?"
You didn't want to even bring that topic
I
up.
couldn't. Now I can be out. Yeah, she's all right. You know, she's getting older. You know, I can see that she's, you know, and you know something. I can walk and I can be fine, and I am fine because I've gotten to the point where now she is what she is. What she is.
So
At
how
this
does
point,
this?
you know what? And it's sad because I've I've seen like I never realized, but through this whole healing process, I've seen so many things, not just with me. I've seen things
So
the way, and I said to myself, she is who she is, and there's people that won't see it because she
Andy,
doesn't. She can switch.
so let me ask you. You're healing. I know you said healed, but that's impossible because
No, you never really healed completely, but
completely
you're
right.
no because you could.
Because
Oh yeah.
the situation or the person could come again and cut you just like that, and now
Oh
you got
yeah.
another wound, right? So let me
Yeah.
ask you. Part of the healing, has it changed your definition or version of the way you love your mother? Because unconditional love really means that we accept people where we can.
Yeah, I would say yes, it did because although I know the relationship is not the best, and I wish it could be. I wish I did have like a mother where like I have friends that a mother, they can go shop and they take her. I wish I had that, but she's my mother. I love her. I respect her, despite everything. But the reason why I just, you know what? Right now, I tried to reach out. I tried to even apologize for me, and to kind of put it at rest because I forgive her So
Yeah.
I was just letting her know she doesn't acknowledge that.
I
She
get
doesn't
it.
want to hear. So you know what? Instead of me, I could get like, oh my God, like she's not accepting. This is ridiculous. No, you know what?
Okay.
It
All
doesn't
right.
mean I put it out there. I forgive her, and it relieves my heart a little bit more. And I just leave because you know what? Somehow, some way, it will come around to her.
It'll come
And
around.
she'll reach out to me.
We're almost out of time. I want you to speak to everybody. You have a mindfulness strategies for the balanced mom life masterclass coming up in August the 19th, a Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Talk about that. Let people know what it's all about. The link is on the screen as we speak. What can they expect? Who's this for and why?
Well, we're going to discuss exactly what it is in the masterclass. We're going to talk the benefits of it. We're going to talk about strategies on how it could specifically, it's a powerful tool that could help anybody with trauma. For trauma, mindfulness is a powerful tool. And we're going to discuss that in the masterclass.
Okay, and it's for moms, but what about
it's with the moms? It could be for women. Anybody,
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Experience. I mean, I focus on that, but I can get a young mom that's 30. I always say moms over 40 because that's where I'm at now. But I can get somebody that's not a mom.
I got a question.
Experience trauma.
So at this point of the journey, how old is your mom, by the way?
She's 80, she just turned 83?
83, okay. Do you really, at this point, expect your mom to really change at 83?
No. Because if she didn't change thus far, at 83 years old, she ain't going to.
So who can change at this point? Exactly. Yeah. Which also, I believe a lot of the responsibility now, too, shifts from, okay, I know I can't change my mom, but I will take this energy and make sure, like with my siblings or your daughter,
exactly what I tell my daughter.
Right, so that they can heal. Because to me, it's like this. You know how it is, and we don't like certain things about people or character traits, but then all of a sudden, they're gone.
Yeah.
And then, if you haven't done your best with trying, you can have a whole nother kit and caboodle of things that you're stuck having to unpack moving forward. So I get it. The 19th, you guys, of August, it's actually a month from tomorrow, which is the 19th of July. Plenty of time, plenty of room. Get over. There is the link underneath. And we also have...
it's on Zoom, so they have to register for it.
Okay. Well, when they follow this link, they'll be able to do everything from there, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And also the group meets how often?
It's on Facebook right now, so they can just go in there. When they go in there, introduce themselves. There's questions for them to answer. I have set up and to make sure that they're right people for the group.
Well, let me congratulate you on all of your impressive work since the last time we had you here, and wishing you all the best with this. Again, August 19th, everybody. The links will be dropped inside your comment section immediately at the broadcast conclusion, which unfortunately is now. I want you to get over and check all things out. Andrea, thank you so much. Come back and report how it all went later. And anything we can ever do from this side of the table, just let us know. Great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Listen, you guys, get out of here. Have the best day ever. Get out today and find another piece of your highest self. It's a great way to live your life, looking for one E and one R. If you woke up great, and I know you did, tonight when you go to sleep greater, go to sleep kinder, go to sleep nicer, go to sleep bolder. I'll see you tomorrow, God willing, right over there on the front porch. We're together. You and I can have another illuminated conversation. Now, as always, I tell you, get out of here, and I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Andrea. Great job. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Take care.
Show me your shamelessly displaying my state of mind.